to have reactions off of in this movie, except for Sam, except his one reaction shot is, "Wow! No, 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 no! Scream as loud as you can." That creates drama and adds to action scenes and doesn't annoy you really, really, really quickly.
And yeah, I mean, it's just It seems almost like he wanted to make a comedy in the first hour, but he doesn't know how to make a comedy. Michael Bay does not.
He doesn't know how to make an action movie either. So.
No better at making. Actually, he's better at making action movies than he can comedies. Because at the very least, he can make an explosion. He can make things go boom.
I also can hire a person to make an explosion. I mean,
oh, that's true.
There are lines in this movie that are a little too self-referential, the hilarious. A little bit more subtle than the one that comes much later in the movie, but when they're in the frat house and Sam is talking to Leo, which is probably the most unnecessary character in the movie.
Yeah.
But
we need someone more pathetic than Sam, I guess.
Sam's not supposed to be pathetic. He's just supposed to be like an everyday high school schlub. He's not.
But he's pathetic.
He's pathetic in this movie because he's just.
He's pathetic in all the movies.
He gets more pathetic as this series goes on. It's literally like a reverse arc. It's amazing. I don't think I can think of...
He regresses.
Yeah, he regresses as a character. He actually gets more just hate. Like by the end of the third movie, and I know we're out there, you hate this guy. He starts the first movie out and he's kind of like an average kid. It's like, I just want to try to get an A on my paper. And on the paper, and at like the end of the third one, he's just like a rageaholic and he's violent to people. He tries to murder a guy, and it's upsetting. But so the line where he's talking to Leo and he says something like, "Oh man, anybody can just do that on a computer." I'm like, yeah. Anybody can do that on a computer. Good job, Michael Bay.
On the stuff you mentioned, it's two. So, just on that sort of topic, there's a part in the film where Sam Witwicky is like drawing symbols all over the walls, and one of the things he's drawing on is a poster for Bad Boys 2. And there's something similar in the first Transformers film. There's someone aliens are attacking and Transformers are falling and people are dying, and this guy is out there with a camera and he's like, "This is officially cooler than Armageddon." And I'm thinking to myself, I think that Michael Bay is masturbating to his own self-image.
Yeah. It's ridiculous. I can't really think of another director who's ever, like, that really would be like in the middle of the dark of the new Christopher Nolan movie that's coming out, Interstellar. If like in the middle of that, like a guy was like getting beat up in the middle of a room and he got knocked into a poster for The Dark Knight Rises.
Wait, and
it's so.
By the way, there are filmmakers who reference their other movies in their films.
Yeah.
But you can do it with an amount of subtlety and grace and have an art to it.
It has to be cute or something like that.
Yeah.
Don't literally shove it in your face and put the movie on a pedestal.
Michael Bay literally it's just the poster for the movie, and it's noticeable and it's there. And I also know Cloverfield as well, but.
Oh no! And the worst part is, if you actually notice when he starts painting on the Bad Boys 2 poster, he inexplicably tears down another poster that's above the Bad Boys 2 poster. At least to me, almost implying like, yeah, let's get this other crap that you're saying is above Bad Boys 2 out of there. Just put this little masterpiece right here.
And I've never seen it's so difficult to see a series of films more in love with himself than these three. And Michael Bay is in love with himself. And you get that, and don't you get a sense like it feels like that the film is in love with itself? And it's like, we're epic. We are an epic experience.
It's really overindulgent, and I get that there are epics out there that, like, I mean, you could make an argument that a lot of major epics that come out are kind of in love with themselves. Like, you could say that Lord of the Rings is in love with itself, but I mean, the extended editions are in love with themselves. But at least the theatrically released movies had the gall to, we'll put the stuff that's necessary in the movie, and for anybody that wants more, they can go out and find the special edition and watch that themselves. Transformers 2, the theatrically released movie, really feels like it's the extended edition of the real movie, and it's the first hour, like just like I did with the first movie, you could make in a couple of seconds you could come up with a reason why this movie could be much more tightly packed and at least it wouldn't be good, but at least it wouldn't feel long.
And-
just make this an hour, 40
But not to
minute long
mention,
movie, and it's
this
a
film really doesn't
fine
feel like
life.
I've never felt in my entire life. I've never seen a sequel where I feel so much like this shouldn't have existed, and the reason is it doesn't. The first film was not designed in a way to help a sequel.
I disagree with that.
but
Transformers is a really
they actually tied things up. Yeah, but they tied things up in a way that they put themselves in a place. They acted in the first film like they weren't going to do it.
I
No, at the end. Well, here's how.
totally
Because they
disagree with that.
put themselves in a position where they killed Megatron, they destroyed the Allspark,
Mm-hmm. No.
and then the second film they like,
there are shards left, and not just they bring that up in the second one. I could be remembering this wrong, but there's a scene when Optimus Prime is like, oh, there's a little piece of the Allspark left. So it's kind of like at the end of Spider-Man 3 when you see like there's a piece of
But
the symbiote left if you
This
look for it.
This Megatron's dead, and
That
for
doesn't mean
some reason they
everything-
want Megatron.
Starscream, yeah, but Starscream
Yeah.
left though. So I mean, like, to me at least, it was obvious at the
But
end of the first
they
movie that
wanted
they're gonna make a
Megatron, I
sequel.
guess. They wanted Megatron.
I don't know why though. I mean,
And
you have a
not only
good
that,
villain,
and they have
like-
a plot hole in it too. So the first film, at the end of the film, well, first of all, we're expected to believe that the first film was covered up. Aliens land in Manhattan, and not Manhattan, Los Angeles, populated area. Hundreds of people see it. Probably a lot of people have died. There's billions of dollars of property damage, and they covered it up. I'm sorry, this is a government that can't run a website properly, and you're telling me they covered this up? Are you kidding me?
And
But-
they're inconsistent.
And even
later
more
on
so, in the
franchise.
first film, they say at the end that the reason they put Megatron in the bottom of the ocean, and they say in the film, the last film, that the reason they're doing that is because the pressure will destroy it. In the second film,
Yeah, they just go
it's
down
just-
there and they're like,
and it's
oh,
there.
we're paying Allspark, he's better. And can I just
and
bring up?
it's guided, it's guarded too, because apparently they expected
And
that.
if I can just bring up the whole notion that first of all we even need Megatron. That if you have another villain set up and you've been setting him up, just use that villain. You don't need
Yeah.
to literally spend 20 minutes bringing back the character. Like, but
But
on
that level,
a
just
larger
addressing
point
that,
than a
this
larger
is-
point than that. Bringing Megatron back kind of just sets up the whole idea that death doesn't matter at all in this
Oh,
in
no,
this
no,
universe.
no.
In this universe, and it's just when you establish so early on in the movie that any character can just be brought back by something that we know exists. We know that there's fragments left of it, so it's set up that we can use this for any character later on. When Optimus Prime dies, is there any tension that
No.
we know that he's not going to come back?
He's
He's
not.
the most marketable character. They don't hold on it, and we know that he could be brought back. So, gee, I wonder if they're going to bring him back or not.
Yeah,
It's
and I will say this as well.
preposterous.
Just two things. First, in regarding that plot I just mentioned earlier, I just want to make a point here. It's not like it's something they would have to look up. They did look it up. They mentioned it in the end of the first film. So they know that that's why Megatron's at the bottom of the ocean. They know this is the case, and then they just decide to ignore it. But second of all, actually, I agree. I mean, I remember thinking when they got it back, great, now they can bring Jazz back alive. And the whole idea that the Allspark can bring you back is absurd anyway. So, you know what happened when the Allspark was put into Megatron's chest in the first film?
he died.
He died. And then that same thing brings him back to life. It's like one of those, it's like a defibrillator. It's like you shock them and they're dead, and then you shock them again and they're alive.
Maybe that's actually exactly what it was.
Maybe.
Oh, you may have actually just solved one of the plot holes. Why are you helping Michael Bay?
I don't know.
Why are you helping this man? He's first of all he's an idiot, and second of all he just perpetuates the worst of humanity
right, I
in
mean,
these movies. The stereotyping in these movies is shocking.
One thing I want to explain too is that I understand how difficult it is to make a film, but at the same time, I feel like the stereotypes that Michael Bay perpetuates in his films have actually been harmful. Like I think people will look at, especially with Megan Fox, turning her into a sex symbol. Do you not think that in an era where this has become an increasing problem, people becoming anorexic because they are bombarded with this kind of imagery, people thinking this is how I'm supposed to dress and act, and people have not been hurt by that?
You know, for me at least, I think these movies haven't had much lasting power. So honestly, no, I don't really agree. If that was in some classic film that everybody loved, everyone universally considered, yeah, we're going to hold this up to a higher standard.
A lot of people really like.
Yeah, a bunch of
it made like
a bunch of mongoloid fools like this movie.
Sadly, sadly, they made up a lot of money of people and
Yeah.
a lot of money. And
This movie's not going to become a classic, though. It's not. I don't even know if this is going to be held. Well, actually, it might be held up as one of the most universally hated.
Oh, yeah, I'm
Not
sure this
universally.
film-
Like this movie, like people still talk about Transformers 2 and how bad it is. Like kind of in the same way that people still talk about like Battlefield Earth or Batman and Robin or The Last Airbender. Now they still talk about how terrible those movies are. And they still talk about Transformers 2. I don't know if. And a lot of people seem to understand that Transformers 2 is bad in part because of how disgusting the racial stereotyping is in the their and Bay's interpretation of women and that kind of stuff. But
Oh, yeah.
it seems like people understand that the way that works is wrong. So no, I do disagree with you on that point. I think
speaking of the racism, by the way,
yeah.
I want to see if I'm the only one who thought this. When you first see the one of the racist robots, you didn't see the robot in like its robot form, but he's in the form of an ice cream truck, and he's saying, "Children, get your ice cream," and something like that. Was I the only one who thought to myself, Michael Jackson, is that you?
Well, he died that year, so I would hope that they didn't.
Yeah, but I saw that and I was like, let's see, this voice is coming out of an ice cream truck and he's mentioning the word children.
Yeah.
I
don't know.
Michael Jackson?
Well, I think that's a very minor point.
Yeah, that's
when
just
compared to just the race, the flat out racism that is just in your face after a certain point. Like when they get into the whole, the twins are, they can't read, they have gold teeth, they're clumsy, and they're like, and they're like using, like they're saying like this movie is surprisingly colorful in its vocabulary. They're saying things like pussy and like dickhole and like pubic fro head, and like that was shocking to me that even made it. Like some of these words even managed to get into.
And it's so,
like,
it was so
PG-13 action.
controversial. In the third film, I don't think they were even there.
No, they weren't.
They didn't.